Jacob has dwelt in the land of Egypt with his family for 17 years, and now at 147 it's time for him to die. He's asked Joseph to have him buried back in the land of Canaan, because that is the land that God has promised to give to them as an everlasting possession. And Jacob has blessed the two sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, putting Ephraim above Manasseh and claiming them as his. So when the children of Israel are enumerated, Ephraim and Manasseh would be two large tribes among the tribes, even though at the immediate time they are one of the smallest tribes. And now Jacob calls his sons together and makes a prophetic statement concerning each one. We read Genesis chapter 49. Jacob called his sons and said, "Gather together, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength. The excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed. Then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honour be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion who shall rouse him? The sceptre shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his border shall adjoin Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down between two burdens. He saw that rest was good, and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a band of slaves. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path, that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider shall fall backward. I have waited for your salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall tramp upon him, but he shall triumph at last. Bread from Asher shall be rich, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He uses beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful bough by a well. His branches run over the wall. The archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong, by the hand of the mighty God of Jacob. For there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. By the God of your father who will help you, and by the Almighty who will bless you, with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors. Up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father spoke to them. And he blessed them. He blessed each one according to his own blessing. So there are 12 tribes of Israel, but Jacob concentrates on 2 in particular, Judah and on Joseph. So the one who would naturally come first, Reuben, the firstborn, he gave way to the lust of the flesh. Reuben went up to his father's concubine, and so he is denied leadership because of that. Simeon and Levi, the next 2 sons of Jacob, also are criticised because of their cruelty and their violence, and so we're told that they will be divided in Israel. Levi was divided in that they were not given their own territory in Israel. Rather, they were given cities distributed in all the tribal areas, and they became the teachers and the administrators, so that there's a sense of justice in Levi's thinking, but it is spread across the people. Simeon also was divided. He shared the territory of Judah and did not have a distinct territory of their own when they came into the land. But Judah is blessed, and we are told the sceptre shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. Judah had repented before the Lord while they were still in Canaan. We read about that in chapter 38. And then he had been the advocate for Benjamin before Joseph. And so from him the leadership of the people will come. So the name Jews comes from his name. King David came from Judah, and Jesus was born from David. And so he is the lawgiver. He is the ruler who shall rule the whole earth. And this is anticipated in Jacob's blessing of Judah. The other tribes have territories and particular blessings. Dan is described as one who shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path. It sounds a fairly negative kind of statement. Dan was one of the first tribes to turn aside to idolatry, and is the tribe that is omitted in Revelation chapter 7. But the blessing on Joseph is great. He shall be fruitful, a fruitful bough, his branches run over the wall. When the tribes settled into the land, Joseph's descendants, Ephraim and Manasseh, occupy a large and central part of the territory. Manasseh, in fact, has 2 territories. Ephraim occupies the hill country. And there becomes rivalry between Judah and Ephraim, because Samaria was based on Ephraim and Judah was based on Jerusalem. But God's blessing has been upon these people to produce a large number of people. And in the future we will see there are even more than we thought. Benjamin, Joseph's youngest brother, is described as a ravenous wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey. While Benjamin yielded the first king of Israel, yet Benjamin was a tribe that was always in the shadow of others. God knows the future, and God announces the future. This is the chief characteristic of the living God, that he can declare things before they happen. And so these things were written down before the history that shows they were fulfilled. Jacob used the phrase, "What shall befall you in the last days?" And so the full fulfillment of these things still lies in the future, when God will again take Israel and bless them in the land, and when the tribes of the earth will all come up to Jerusalem to worship the Lord, and Jesus rules as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The statements made of Judah are applied to our Lord Jesus in later scriptures. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. he is the judge of all the earth.